Hi, this is Elena with Elena Nicole Health. I am a certified health coach and personal trainer, and today I am taking a video, I was going to say quick, but it's probably not going to be quick, on mindful eating. So if you're not already in my Facebook group or following me, you can follow me on all the social channels at Elena Nicole Health. You can always reach out to me on my website at elenanicolehealth.com. If you have any additional questions, I'm always happy to connect and help you in any way that I can. I have been focusing in on different healthy habit areas for the month of May, and for this week I have decided to focus in on mindful eating. So that's what this video is all about. I'm going to talk a little bit about the general concept and then break down as quick as I can 8 of my tips to how you can eat more mindfully. At first, I want to start off by saying over the past couple years or so, mind anything, whether that's mindfulness or mindset or even mindful eating, all of those things have become really, really trendy. And just that word, I think sometimes people hear it and just think it's another kind of buzzword. To me, it has a pretty serious meaning behind it. It is a tool, not just a trend, that I have used along with these tips and kind of overall strategy to help me not only reach my health and weight loss goals, but also maintain them. So that is how I talk about it. It's how I share it. It's how I encourage that you possibly take some of these that I do, modify them to work for you, and use them in that way, and not just in the way that mindset and mindfulness is really trending right now, but also apply it so it can benefit you and help you overall reach your goals. So that's number one. I kind of wanted to point that out. It definitely has a purpose, and it isn't just using the word just to use the word. So what is mindful eating? What it really is to me is knowing what you're doing and why you're doing it. Knowing what you're putting in your mouth, what you're putting in your body, and why. Actually taking that time to step back and actually make a conscious decision. Take yourself out of autopilot and recognize what you're doing all day by really paying attention and becoming aware. So you can actually make that conscious and intentional decision if it's something you want to continue doing in that moment and even long term. And I've had so many instances in my life by focusing a little bit more on this, using some of the tips that I'll share, how that has made such a huge difference. And if you guys see me looking over to the side, I say this a lot in my videos, I have a ton of notes because I get distracted, I forget what I'm talking about, probably already gone way off what I plan to say, but I do like to check in periodically to make sure I am covering some of the main points. If I do forget things, sometimes I take additional videos, but I hope you guys will listen to the end of this one. I'm going to try my hardest to keep it under 15 minutes, and then I will add additional videos for any that I do forget. So basically I kind of covered, what it is. The whole idea of it has helped me stay, really committed, really consistent with what I do. And I've developed it into an overall routine and habit, which is what I would love to help you guys do if you're ever interested in working with me, or if you just follow along with my videos and content, you will see me talk a lot about this, and you can possibly even apply it just from there. So I'm going to share some of my main tips that I practice regularly. And like I said, if I think of others, I will definitely add them on. So the number one, I think biggest one, is I continually ask myself, why am I eating throughout the day? And I use kind of a 3-word approach to this, which is what, why, and align, because it's easy to remember. It kind of rhymes. The first thing is, what am I eating? What am I about to eat? I literally have asked this question of myself when I am standing at my pantry. Everybody has a spot in their kitchen or their home where a lot of people do anyways, the clients I've worked with and family and friends, I hear this a lot, that sometimes when you're either bored or looking for a distraction or whatever it may be, you just kind of end up, maybe it's at your fridge, maybe it's at your pantry. For me, in my home here, it's at my pantry. My last apartment, it was at my pantry, and I'll find myself standing there, and I've started to create this practice of just asking myself, what are you doing? Like, break myself, almost like shake my head. Get out of that autopilot. What are you about to stick your hand in to eat, and why are you going to do it? And does it align with your overall goals? Is it something you want to do just right now in this moment, or that you're going to be happy you did in a half hour from now? Does it make you more of the person that you want to become? And that's a quote from somewhere else. I can't even remember where, but those are the questions that I ask myself on repeat throughout the day as I'm considering if I want to just kind of a lot of times mindlessly put food in my mouth. And for me, I have decided that I really like to eat the majority of the time, this is not always, for one of 2 reasons. One is I'm hungry. It's lunchtime, maybe it's a different time throughout the day. I literally have the feeling of hunger in my body. Not my mind is saying that I need to eat, but I literally have like the physical feeling of hunger. And there's a big difference between mental hunger and physical hunger. If you're not sure exactly what the difference is, definitely reach out to me. I'm happy to talk you through that and help you identify which is which. So one would be if I'm hungry. My second would be if it's like some type of rare, exceptional food experience. Maybe somebody bakes me like my favorite homemade cookies at work, or I'm going out to a food tasting event. I may not be hungry when I get there, but I'm going to taste the food. So it's that type of thing. Those are typically the 2 times that I like to choose to eat. A few times that I like not to choose to eat, one would be because everybody else is doing it. If you work in an office, sometimes maybe in the morning there's like donuts laying around, or today I literally went into work and we moved into a new office and everybody had a cookie sitting at their desk. It was 9 a.m. I had just brought my green smoothie in. I am like totally feeling great with the way I'm eating, and then there's this cookie sitting in front of me. And wasn't hungry, was not a rare, exceptional food experience, and everyone else was just eating their cookie. And I was like, I'm not just gonna eat it because it's sitting here. And I literally took it, moved it, and did not eat it because it just didn't fit in line with those 3 questions that I shared. I can have a cookie anytime, and right then just wasn't the time that I chose to do it. So just because everybody else is doing it is one reason that I specifically don't like to just eat because that's what you do. The second one is habitually, which is like out of habit. I used to do this also all the time. After dinner, I had dessert every single night. I created a habit of doing it. And after a while, I kind of started to ask myself, like, why do you want to have dessert every night? You're not even really enjoying it anymore. You're just doing it because it's something that you do. And I decided that I didn't want it to be something that I just do every night. So I worked on breaking that habit, and now I am much more intentional with when I have dessert after dinner. The last one is emotional, and this is huge for so many of us. Many times we are either using food or drink to either create emotion or a certain type of experience, or avoid or numb, distract from it. And that is a specific thing that I've also made a habit to try not to do. It's something I've done literally my whole life. Once I realized that I was doing it by asking myself that question, what am I doing? Why am I doing it? Do I really want to be doing it? It does align with my goals. I realized how many times I was reaching for food when I was either trying to create an emotion of like happiness or avoid something I just didn't want to deal with. And it's not what I wanted to be doing. Instead, there's a whole process of just like being with your emotions, and then you can always decide to add food or drink. So I don't want to make it sound like that going out to eat and drink is not an amazing thing, because I'm a foodie. I love to do that, but I also know that I can go out and have a good time, and I don't have to have that. So it literally just makes your experiences so much better, because you know that you can have a great time regardless of what else externally is going on around you. And if you guys have questions on these things, let me know, because I'm going to try to get through them fairly quickly. So that's number 1. That's probably the biggest one. Number 2 is I have this again, kind of like a rhymy little thing that's love it, need it, or leave it. So it's very similar to the last one, but a little bit different. Kind of similar to what happened with the cookie this morning. Somewhat of a mediocre cookie sitting on my desk in front of me. I didn't love it. I definitely didn't need it. I had my green smoothie sitting there next to it. It was breakfast time, so I decided to leave it. So I always ask myself that question: is it fueling me? Does it literally provide my body with nutrients, and do I need them in that moment? Or again, is it an exceptional, like rare food experience that, I really want to enjoy? Otherwise, it's gone. And I have shared, I think it was last year, I went to like a cookie tasting party around the holidays. Wasn't hungry, obviously. Love cookies, definitely gonna go. So what I do is I will get a variety of what looks good to me, and I'll try them. And if I'm not loving them, I leave them. So it's just a practice of, you can definitely try different things. You can choose if this works for you. For some people it does, some people doesn't. But you don't have to eat things just because you take them. So number 3 is, for the majority of the time, I try to eat when I'm hungry. Again, this all is very in line with, they're all very in line with each other, and they kind of stack on one another. But the bigger piece here is stop when I'm 80% full. So this speaks to the next point as well, is slowing down and like taking a breath when you're eating, because it helps your body to realize when you're full. it actually signals your brain that, like, okay, slow down, I'm getting full, you can stop eating soon, and it allows you to stop when you're 80% full. I don't know about anybody else, but I still do it sometimes. You go out to eat, or maybe you're eating at home, you're doing a million different things, and all of a sudden you are stuffed, and I get kind of miserable. I don't like to be stuffed. So this helps you from helps to keep you from getting to that point, is just intentionally stopping when you're about 80% full. When you're starting to feel content, you know you could eat more, but you're deciding, you know what, I don't need to, I'm gonna eat again. That's kind of what I tell myself, is you're gonna eat again. You enjoyed your food, you got to taste everything, you experienced it, it's all good if you stop now. That's like kind of how I chill my brain out from just thinking like more. So again, I talked a little bit about slowing down. I try my hardest. This does not happen all the time, especially having a 5-year-old. A lot of times I'm running all over the place trying to do 15 things at once. But when I'm eating, I try to focus on chilling out, sitting down, taking a breath before I eat, and eliminating distractions, not people, unfortunately, though sometimes that would be nice. But electronics, which I know is not the popular opinion here. I'm sure some of you watching this are like, well, what am I supposed to do? Well, the whole point of eating is to eat and enjoy your food, and it also helps with digestion when that is literally what you're focusing on, and your body is in rest and relax mode and not fight or flight. That is literally when you produce cortisol, which leads to fat storage, which probably, if you're watching this video, is not something you want. So I highly encourage you to work on it at least for 1 or 2 meals a day. I know sometimes we're running in the middle of the day, if you work in an office or whatever you have going on. Lunch is tricky. I totally get that. This isn't something you have to do every single time, but if you focus on doing it, more often than not, 1 to 2 meals a day, you're going to feel a difference. It just really helps you to digest your food better too. So I mentioned this before as well, is I try and plate my food before my first bite. So actually taking the food out of the serving bowl, out of the bag if it's a snack, out of whatever it is, putting it on a plate, intentionally deciding how much I want to eat. Not necessarily counting things out, but making a decision with my mind and not my hands of what I'm actually going to eat. I can always go back for more, but making that choice, putting it on a separate dish or napkin, whatever it is, even when I'm at a party, I'll do this, because it really helps break me out of that cycle, that subconscious cycle of like standing around a table where you're just mindlessly munching and shoving food in your mouth. Has anybody been there? You're in conversation, maybe you're drinking, and all of a sudden like a bowl of chips are gone and nobody knows where they went. This helps me not get to that point. And then your food gets there and you're like, I think I just ate a meal of tortilla chips, I'm not really sure. This helps you not do that. So literally just taking a plate, taking a napkin, putting some chips on it, and eating from there, and then you can decide if you want to go and have more. So next on here, this goes to also, I like to say that I practice intentional and informed eating. This speaks more to the informed piece of it, but it's also staying mindful of what you're putting in your body and why. And it's reading your labels. Just get in a habit of start reading every single label of what you're eating. You will be absolutely amazed if it's not something you already do. The things that are in our food is mind-blowing. I still find things that maybe I have bought for a very long time, and I'll turn it over and we'll find something new on the label, because food is constantly changing. Anything that depending on what type of food you buy, especially if it's not organic, where you shop, anything that can make our food more addictive, things are going to be added to it. So I encourage you to always check it out, and just continuously flip over those labels. If you don't know what something is, Google it. Find out what is in your food and what it is doing to your body, how it's going to make you feel after. Pay attention to all of those things. I highly encourage it. It makes such a huge difference. Can't tell you guys how many things I find preservatives, additives are in so many foods, but like dairy and sugar creeps into so many things, as well as sodium in different forms. And I am all about seasoning and salting food, but when you're buying some of the packaged, even like vegetables with sauces, or huge difference is rice and cauliflower rice. If you buy the frozen or bagged ones that you can microwave, definitely check those out, because you would be shocked. The ones that have the seasonings or sauces already in them have like 600 to 700 milligrams of sodium, and some of them. And then if you buy the plain and season it yourself, it has like 20 or under 100. It's like outrageous, the difference, because they add so much of these additives and different things to our food to try and make us want more and more. It's really, really crazy. So I highly encourage that you flip over your packages, you read your labels, you get used to knowing what's in your food. You don't even have to do anything at this point, but I really encourage you to just Google some of those things. You will be shocked. If you're anything like me, and I've talked to so many people who have started doing this and are really shocked. So definitely encourage it. So this is one that I am currently refocusing in on all the time. I struggle with this one a little bit. Meals have a beginning and an end, so not mindlessly munching as you are cooking. Huge one for me because I cook very healthy food. So sometimes popping a whole bunch of broccoli in my mouth, I can rationalize in my brain, but it's not something I want to do. It isn't mindful eating. It isn't intentional. It does make me feel a little crazy when I'm cooking. And then sometimes I get that feeling again where I'm like bordering on slightly full when I sit down. So it's something I'm always working on, refocusing in, recommitting, just again, being intentional and deciding, do I want to be doing this? Do I want to be? Another big one for me that I just kind of brought my attention to, became more aware of doing, was my daughter's food. If you're a parent, you probably found yourself in this spot. I make her peanut butter and jelly on occasion, and I would eat like a piece of the crust. What kind of crust with like the tiniest bit of peanut butter and jelly on it is good? It wasn't good. I was just eating it. It was just something I was doing. It was a habit I created. And then I decided I didn't want the habit anymore. So I had to work on breaking it. But this is just deciding that you want your meals to have a beginning and an end. You want them to be on a plate or a napkin. And just like making that intentional decision of what you're eating, how much, when, all of that stuff. Not saying anything's right or wrong. You get to choose, which is the cool part. But it also means that you get to choose, that you have to choose, or your brain will decide what it wants you to do. And sometimes that is not the path we want to go down. So slow down, I kind of already mentioned this. One thing here that is, but I do sit down the majority of the time, depending on work, depending on what's going on throughout the day. That doesn't always happen. I have had a meal in my car in the past when I'm traveling or something like that. But when I'm home, 2 out of 3 meals of the day, I want to be sitting down. Unless I'm sitting all day, sometimes that will be my time to stand, but I will try and put myself in that place of like chill mode when I'm eating, and try to relax that buzzing in my head when I'm eating, just so I can digest my food as best as I possibly can. And also chewing our food. I think sometimes, again, we're in such a rush, we just get in that go, go, go mentality and we don't chew our food. About a week ago, I was sitting with my daughter eating a meal, and she told me she was not even chewing her spaghetti. She was just letting it literally slide down her throat because she was in such a hurry to get up from the table and go do something else. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. I obviously had to talk with her, and it was like whole wheat pasta, so it had a lot of fiber in it. I'm like, you really need to chew this. Can you please chew your food? Like, you have plenty of time. And these are the conversations I feel like we sometimes have to have with ourselves. Like, the world will wait the majority of the time. Like, we can chew our food. Something I heard forever ago was focus on like 10 to 20 times of chewing, just to literally start that digestion process. It actually does start in our mouth. But when we swallow whole food, it doesn't. So we really want to try and do that whenever we can, when we do want to make that intentional effort to focus on it. It sounds ridiculous, but it's really something that can be helpful. It also can help you eat less if weight loss and maintenance is your goal. Again, all leading to that slowing down of what you're doing and signaling your brain when you are full. Super important. So the last one that I'm going to talk about here is kind of something I mentioned already as well, is just being aware, breaking yourself out of that autopilot throughout the day, making some points to do that, asking yourself, what am I doing right now? Like, and I literally will do that. Sometimes I'll like shake my head and be like, what are you doing? Like, do you want to be doing this? I've shared this example a million times. I used to have a bag of almonds and cashews and walnuts in the middle console of my car, and they're healthy. So I used to literally get in my car and just eat them every single time I got in. I was about 10 to 12 pounds, probably above where I wanted to be weight-wise. Didn't even think anything of this until I think I had left a therapy session. This was a couple years back, and I was starting to research more into the psychology behind eating. And one day, I just started paying attention to these types of things, and I realized how many times a day I was doing that. And a lot of times it was at times of high emotion. Like I think this time it was literally after I left a therapy session. And I realized that it was not only like stuffing my feelings down with shoving this handful of nuts in my mouth every time I got in my car, but it was a complete habit. I had no idea I was doing it. And I wasn't even literally chewing them, enjoying them, and I wasn't hungry. And it was like I had to break myself out of that autopilot of doing it and just thinking, oh, these are healthy, this is fine, and start paying attention. And I don't do it anymore. It was like once you start to own that and like notice those habits you've created and you decide you don't want them, it's a lot easier to remove them once you do all of those steps. So that's a big one, is just making yourself pay attention throughout the day, become aware of what choices you're making, and then eventually asking yourself the question, do I want to continue making them? So those were 8 of my tips for mindful eating. Again, something that's way more than just a trendy topic, but really a tool and a strategy that you can use to not only reach your health and weight loss goals, but also maintain them. If you guys ever have any questions, you can reach out to me on any of my social pages at Elena Nicole Health, or on my website at elenanicolehealth.com. In my Facebook group, which is called Feel Good Fit Life, we do these challenges as a group. I've just started doing this, so I'm trying to get others participating in it, but I do share some of my kind of behind the scenes type moments, like that cookie situation today, things like that. You guys are definitely welcome to join if you're interested, and I look forward to talking to you soon.